and thought. The basic responses of I and I. Metamorphosis.
Keep listening.
In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror.
Iman black, me no brown, me no white. Nah see Babylon stripe, you mad?
Guiding I eternally. Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, it's live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change them style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Black men of Tarsus, black men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria, gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Good evening, Iman Blak.
Good evening.
This is Pauline from St. Mary. Calling to big you up on your program. I am a disciple. I've been there since almost the inception.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free.
I just you may tune into because, me always even watch some other television and stuff, and that I have to see for later. I have to really listen to you first, you know what I mean?
How my one one machikum bakhna Africa da fa bakhna kida fa rafet one machiki bunjul kida fa bunjul one yande kesawai kida fa bunjul one machiki bunjul kida fa bunjul dafnen rafet yom wentamenda ingama getting dafnen rafet yom wentamenda ingara dafnen rafet yom wentamenda ingara did you know that's a richer Africa did you know that's a richer Africa, did you know? Said the whole world love it, did you know? Said the whole world love it. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of that what you got. Be proud.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
I hope I haven't put anybody on the spot. I'm not intending to try and stir you up and make you do something that you wouldn't have done anyway. I pray that God will bless you in everything that you do. I pray that you will grow intellectually so that you can understand the problems of the world and where you fit into in that world picture. And I pray that all the fear that has ever been in your heart will be taken out. And when you look at that man, if you know he's nothing but a coward, you won't fear him. If he wasn't a coward, he wouldn't gang up on you. He wouldn't need to sneak around here. This is how they function. They function in mobs. That's a coward. They put on a sheet so you won't know who they are. That's a coward. No. The time will come when that sheet will be ripped off. If the federal government doesn't take it off, we'll take it off.
couldn't take any more of your baton blows. Nah, nah. I said your baton blows, yeah. It's got me moving slow, slow. A universal tribulation. I feel it and I know it. It is a universal tribulation. When I give up, no. The children now give up, no. When I give up, while the children are crying, their mom is undying, yeah. And while the grasses is a growing, Lord knows, all the horses is a starving, yeah. But Nanny knows I just a universal tribulation. I feel it as I tread the way. Universal tribulation. I don't care what they wanna say. Universal tribulation. You and I.
Metamorphosis. 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 Eli, Rastafari. Tinastilin. Greetings. Yes, he'll hide them in the fullness. He'll hide them within the pandemic. The movements of the earth in tribulation. And black people, we will not be downtrodden. We will rise up our meditation towards a celebration. Because where there is an end, there is also a beginning. Metamorphosis, Dr. Iman Blak, live. Elia, give thanks for being able to be in the studio here and healing up and giving much credit to engineer Cassidy, who has held certain things together. But here we are again, live and living, ice, green and gold. You know, the last time I was here in the physical place, we are in a moment in the Earth's history wherein we were confronted with a new set of events and a new set of language in which to cope. So we were under an attack by a monster called COVID. And this COVID monster has laid siege to the planet Earth and has had all governments rattling. But 3 months ago, the focus was on overstanding the language of distancing and the protocols of isolation and quarantine and all kind of behavior modification, adjustments, until at that moment, the whole world decided collectively to shut down the global economy. Now, 3 months onwards, at this point in time, more and enough things have taken place. So many things have transpired over the last 3 months that we have to be careful that we don't try to absorb everything and don't get any substance out of anything. It's a lot of events and it needs a perspective, and critically we need a black perspective. 3 months ago, there was no agitation by any movement called Black Lives Matters. 3 months ago, the whole focus was simply on Corona and how to deal with the equipment and the PPE and the oxygen, and the focus was really on health, it would appear. The focus was also on identifying where the virus came from. However, all of that has changed. And it has changed so rapidly that there are many, many persons who have become, for lack of a better word, they have become discombobulated in their brain, disturbed, upside down, inside out, not sure what the next move is, unsure of what they call the future. But the metamorphosis, after being underground for such a long time, studying the system as it unfolds, I realized that 3 months ago I was asking my listeners to take a perspective to look at the pandemic from the time of the first pandemic. So I was asking my listeners to reconfigure 1917 to 1920 and do some reading and grappling with some understanding as to what happened in that pandemic to give us a sort of clue as to what would happen in this one. So while we're busy searching and trying to find ways to deal with that virus, another more crucial virus emerged. A virus that has proven to be even more deadly than corona. And what is this virus? This virus has been on the planet for hundreds of years. This virus deals with health as a byproduct, physical health, but it really affects the psyche. It's a virus that attacks the psychology. It attacks the spirit. It's a virus that attacks the soul of the black man. And what is this virus? This virus, in order to understand this virus, we have to take a longer projection. We have to begin to look at our experiences and our time from the intervention of Columbus. So what I'm saying now, in a brief, for us to be able to grasp the new events that the death of Floyd George has triggered off, for us to fully over the implications of that slow motion suicide, dull behavior of the police, for us to have a proper knowledge and understanding of the rioting that is now taking place in Europe, not America. We need a longer lens. And I'm suggesting that we prepare ourselves to look into our experiences from the beginning. And which beginning we're talking about now? The beginning of the Columbus Project. The word that is being bandied around now is racism. A lot of people in Jamaica are naive to the term, to the concept. We are even now being introduced to the term called systemic racism. This is new language, all triggered off by the assassination of a black soul. So we're going to start the analysis to understand why black people globally have risen up in violence, literally. What is the cause? Though it hasn't been the first death of a black man, this one seems to have triggered something different. But to understand it, we need to begin to grapple with what I'm going to call the Columbus Project. The project that started in the 1490s and came to a complete standstill 3 months ago in 2020. This is an opportunity to assess and to recognize that there is a revolution in motion in the earth. And I must be ready to participate. Metamorphosis.
Not only that
So we're going to move the reasoning in our analysis now, because our initial concern was about a virus, and the virus had to deal with our health. But then the focus shifted from health to our economic conditions, because suddenly we recognized that poverty was now staring most people in the faces. And as the world stopped turning and the wheels of the economy grinded to a halt, the focus shifted from the economic to the political. As people began to struggle now about things like freedom of expression and freedom of speech and freedom versus security. And so the focus was all about democratic societies and authoritarian societies. And boom, it switched again to a racial issue. Because out of the violence under COVID-19 in America, the racial issues of America surface. And out of the racial incidents now, there's international and global protests. These things have been happening rapidly. And I need to be able to have a perspective that we're not only spectators, but we become agents now of change. Because as much as these events have taken place before, meaning the murder of black people, we seem to be in a different era, driven by social media, driven by youths, who many people talk about are, vipers and all of this type of argument. It is the youths who are making the decision not to be like sheep, as their ancestors were. So we're going to move into the analysis as the metamorphosis continues.
Algorithm, as I was saying. Heavy tune. From the Black Heart.
Everything is going fine. Yes, blessed love. This is Denver Morgan saying, tune into the Metamorphosis with Dr. Iman Blak every Monday night from 9 p.m. to midnight. Be ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Jah Rastafari.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM, for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Native Audio Stage and Lighting, now offering stage, lighting, and truss systems for your small and medium-sized events. Whether it's a stage show, concert, drama play, wedding, street party, or club setting, you name it, we'll bring it to life. Call us at 871-5212 or 844-6531. Native Audio Stage and Lighting, a sponsor of In the Know of the Law with Sergeant Delrose Green, and also Real Talk with Lady Cleo and Daddy Rude.
Business operators, local and overseas, this announcement is for you.
Styles FM is an internationally known radio network with worldwide listeners in over 120 countries.
From our studio in Port Antonio, Jamaica, to the ears of the people in your community, our listeners can be your new customers.
Styles FM is an economical, efficient, and effective advertising option for your business.
No matter the size of your business, there's always growth potential. Styles FM provides the customer reach needed to realize that upward movement.
So procrastinate no more. Advertising is a must.
For more details on how to advertise with Styles FM, visit www.stylesfm.com or email info@stylesfm.com or call us on 876-518-2399.
Styles FM, the world listen. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Native Broadcasting Network or Styles FM.
Dope guy, drink liar, proof like iron.
Yeah, metamorphosis continuing now, moving into the serious aspects of the reasoning. And I want again heal up all the ones and ones who are listening near and far. Those who are in the belly of the beast and those who are at the periphery. Hold it tight, because the boat will get even rockier in its flight. Now, look at it this way now. We have to look at this thing as black people now. And really, our story, how we get here, and why is it we have to be protesting, and what really is this thing now called racism? Because at initial outset, the global issue was not about racism. It was about health and corona. That was what was burning. But that has been pushed to the back of the stove. And up front comes a more critical virus. A virus that is more invasive and more, have more derogatory attachments to it. It perhaps is the worst of all the viruses. And it is what is called an ism. Yeah, it's an ism. Those who know about ancient Rastafari tradition and movements and language know that Rastaman always burn out all isms and schisms. We put a fire to the isms. We the chase of the ism then. But sometimes as people coming through, we never even check out what is an ism. We just think it's something where a man say. But what is an ism? Because look at it, it's really a part of the English language, you know, it's a suffix. Ism. It has its own, it has a meaning unto itself. Several meanings if you check out what is an ism. You can attach it to capital. You can attach it to social. You can attach it to Nazi. Ism. So what is ism? And what is a race? This is my approach to come into a definition, a working definition of what is racism. Because there are those who will try to deny that race even exists in the way I speak of it. There are those who will try to convince you that there is only quote unquote one race, and they call that one race the human race. I radically and revolutionary disagree with that, because the race that I am and speak of is an African race, a race that is the most ancient race on the planet, existing long before anything called human exists. So where are we today, and why is it this outburst of global rejection and resistance now to this thing called racism? What is it? Is it in Jamaica? Are we living in denial? How does one come to the awareness, to be conscious that this thing exists? Now, as black people, we have to know ourselves historically. And I speak to the item about the Columbus Project, you know. Because the Columbus Project is such a real event that it is today that Columbus statues are being torn down. It is today in 2020, the project that I'm speaking about, which was established in the 1490s, is today, 2020, the symbols of that project are being torn down. And primarily in Europe. Now, how we get to that point? What is the Columbus Project? When black people were emancipated in the Caribbean, 1830s, we were put into institutional-less framework, meaning we did our own. We weren't associated to anything institutional, like constructed by the society. We weren't part of the education system. We weren't part of the political system. We weren't part of the military. Had no involvement in the media. These people, I and I, were just considered to be former slaves. Now, we have to check again our precondition to enslavement. And realize now that in the 1494, That is the date they give us to begin to recognize history in the Caribbean. This is the beginning of the Columbus expedition, the Columbus colonization, the Columbus project. But we need to know that before the Columbus project got going, the Europeans know, these are the white men in Europe, tribe men, Germans and Portuguese and Spanish, white men, cannibals, coming from a cannibal culture. It is these men who will take it upon themselves to sail out of Europe and to come around to the west coast of Africa and to integrate themselves with black people. If you watch a movement now, you know. It is these same people who used to war with each other. Germans and the English war 100 years. I know of no African society where any two groups of people ever war for 100 years. As Europe, these things take place. We're talking about cannibals, we're talking about barbarians. And these are the people who are going to come out now and realize the culture of the melanin people. They're going to come into contact now with sun culture people. And they will begin to organize and set up a campaign of how to rape, rob, and pillage them way into building what they will call European civilization. Their plan was to colonize the rest of the world and transform all of those resources and labor into wealth. So the Columbus project, and remember now, Spain and Europe and Portugal, the first two European countries now to hit the waters, they were actually in a great battle as to who to control the rest of the world. So in 1494, there was a treaty signed between the Portuguese and the Spanish. I want to let them take note of this now. It's called the Treaty of Tordesillas, 1494, June 7th. And what this treaty did was to divide the lands that were outside of Europe. You think them white men are not easy? Them now sit down amongst themselves, and you know who mediate this negotiation is the Pope. Because them couldn't settle it amongst themselves. So these white men, the Portuguese and the Spanish, fighting over the rest of the world, which is I lands and people now, you know. And they're going to get an arbitration from the Pope. So the Vatican becomes an important agent now in this process of dividing the world. And the Vatican tell the Spanish that they must take one section of the world and then give another section of the world to the Portuguese. This is the world that I live in now. You know. This is the African continent. This is millions and millions of black people now. Some white man sit down with the Pope and split up the world. And so the Spanish control the Americas. Now this is where I have been domiciled for the last 500 years, in the Americas. And the Columbus project was to develop Europe into a superpower. So from the 1490s, the campaign has been on to build a global capitalist economy to control the Western world. And you control the Western world by controlling the labor. And if you control the labor and the labor is free, then you build wealth. And that's exactly what the white men them set out to do. So they must share up the world between themselves. This is in the 1400s, and they would share up the world again in 1884. Not the whole world this time, they would share up the African continent. So make us see where we are going from a long time. You know. These are some white men who we don't know where they're getting these powers from. But them dividing up the planet and the lands and the people amongst themselves. And telling us that we are no tribal. And telling us now that we must now pay homage to them and their culture and their deities. So the Columbus Project needed free labor, because it is free labor that would build the European and American empires. Free labor. And that labor was stolen and robbed out of Africa, brought into this Western Hemisphere. And I have been here, scattered across this Western world as slaves. As slaves to produce the work to build this Western economy. And it has been running from the 1490s. And it has been running, and it has been running. And economics has transformed itself from slavery to wage laborers to computer technology. It's been all about laborers and slavery. But guess what happened 3 months ago? The wheels of the movement stopped for the first time. And for the first time since 1494, the Western wheels that run this economy come to a standstill. The global capitalist economy built upon the labor of indigenous people, of black people, for the first time in the history of the world, stop by a virus. And in this arresting of the global economy, it is at this point in time I begin to see the cracks. And I begin to see the injustices. And I begin to see the inequalities in this Columbus Project, wherein the black majority of persons are relegated to strictly workers who are underpaid and on the brink of borrowing. That when the economy stops, these people are shifting to poverty instantly. The stopping of the Western economy have exposed the industries and the institutions that have been making the Western world run. And black people have been integral within those institutions and within those industries. That because they have come to a standstill, it has exposed again the weaknesses of the black people as it relates to economics, that there is no economics. The exposure has taken one step further, because for the first time, with the whole world locked down, people being forced to look online and do things online. For the first time in my lifetime, I was able to see a torture and a murder happening live. And for 500 seconds, the knee of a white policeman rested in the neck of a black man. If you know anything about sports, heavyweight fighting, boxing generally, each man get a chance to recover because there's a 10-second count. That means if a man knocked down a man, the referee have to count 10 seconds, giving that man 10 seconds to recover, to return to do battle. Well, I see a man kneel down on a man's neck, not for 10 seconds, not for 20 seconds, not even for 60 seconds. We're talking about 200 seconds, 300 seconds, 400 seconds kneeling in the neck of a black man. And for the first time, within my tradition, I man begin to question now the whole concept of life in the black soul, about the divinities that we have been given for the last 400 years to call upon, because I saw nothing come to the rescue of that black man. That black man called upon his dead mother to try to help him, and there was no response from the living nor the dead. There's no response from the spirit world. Open the door to a lot of questions about the reality that black people face. And the word that we are now grappling with now is racism. What is racism? How does it function? Is racism only lodged in white people? Do Chinese people practice racism? Do Indians practice racism? What is the ism that surrounds race? Because I need to sort that out. Because if race is a critical part of our identity, then we have to know who we are. Can we still continue to call ourselves Negroes? And where is the power of Christianity in saving the life of that black man? Where is all the things that we have been told that we must rely upon? There was nothing. And so now the revolution in the mind is on. Metamorphosis.
Zion blood is flowing through my veins, so I and I will never work in vain. African blood is flowing through my veins, so I and I shall never fade away. Zion blood is flowing through my veins, so I and I will never work in vain. African blood is flowing through my veins, so I and I shall never fade away. I and I stand for the right and mash up the wrong. Stand for the right and mash up the wrong. Zion blood is flowing through my veins, so I and I will never work in vain. African blood is flowing through my veins, so I and I shall never fade away. Right and mash up the wrong. Stand for the right and mash up the wrong.
Yeah, metamorphosis. Rolling through, trying to make sense out of this whole heap of things that are out there, disjointed, and we need to put a focus on a perspective on the things that are happening. So remember now in the first round, this is round 2. In the first round, we were told to practice things like physical distancing. We heard words like quarantine and isolation, and that became the normal set of conversations, words that we use to express ourselves in that time. In this time now, the virus that we face is not one that has been made in a lab or coming out of in the meat market. This virus is coming out of the belly of the white man, out of him guts. This virus. And this virus now requires some serious analysis. Because if there's no cure, then we have to get really radical. Because it's not today black people trying to get white people to love them. It's not today black people trying to get white people to recognize them as being equal. All these things going on hundreds of years, Yeah, man, and we soon have to make a reference to the importance of technology, because it's just a camera now why we're seeing all these things, and that's the things happening for the first time. It's the cameras now. That is what's causing the exposure now and the alarm, not the fact that it's going on. It's the fact that we are now seeing it. So the ism that we need to concentrate and focus a little bit now is the racism, because we hear words, and sometimes we don't do enough to check out where them come from and where they mean in its root word, etymology, where it come from and how it can be used in different contexts, because it's language. And it's an alien language, so we have to know the terms. We can't call it this thing, that thing, and because we feel like. No go so. So, what is an ism? Because as I said, there is so many isms. There is capitalism, and there's socialism, and there's sexism, fascism, Nazism. So, in my contribution to Insight now, I have to look at what an ism. And what an ism is, according to their definitions, is a distinct system, is a distinct doctrine, or a distinct theory. All right? A ism. And this ism, this theory, this doctrine, this system, it is usually fueled by an oppressive and especially discriminatory attitude or belief. So here we say it's a theory or a doctrine that is motivated by some sort of attitude and belief that is discriminatory. When people talk about race generally refers to a group of people that can be identified as distinct from other groups because of, one, the heritage is different. Two, the genetic makeup is different. And the physical traits shared by the group. These are the terms that we put together now to define a race. A race is a group of people who have in common visible physical traits, such as hair texture, facial features, skin color, and eye formation. So, if you put a ism now to race, what you end up with is a philosophical system and practice of discrimination, intimidation, hatred, and violence. And this is directed against any group of people that are identified by what they have as shared common physical traits. For example, black people. So, when the policeman put his knee in the neck of that man, there was no concept of putting knee into the neck of a Christian, nor a Muslim, nor a Jamaican, nor an Ethiopian. Is one thing that man was kneeling on. It was a black man. It's a black man. And there's no way to go around it. But within the black people, now we have our little coloration and differentiation. We try to separate ourselves now from being black in identity. And so we construct terms like coloreds and Negroes. And those are the identities now that keep the race enslaved. Because the white man knows that he has no problem with the Negroes. His problem is with the black people. The people who identify themselves as black. And we better get the message now. There is no brown people. And being Christian doesn't separate you from the effects of racism. This is a moment to start again. This is a moment to restart as the Europeans and the Western world is resetting their economy. It's a time for black people to restart. And we can restart by resurrecting our identity and acknowledging it. The same way the white man sees us as black people and fear the black man, we must begin to stop seeing ourselves as Negroes. Because as long as we continue to see ourselves as Negroes, we are under the influence of the white domination supremacist ideology. Because it's through that religious window now that our deities are colored into white. It is through the religious education system that we now have to bow down to white angels. And at the ultimate level, we have to bow to a baby Jesus, looking as white as snow. Metamorphosis.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak, kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
But you don't know it's Steph-I Fire Show. Steph-I Fire, wake up in the morning to the sunlight and your face lifted here to the sky, breathing the air of another day, another Thursday, yeah. She give her thanks to Jah, guidance and discharge. She pray with this ritual devotion. She enhance her energy, a positivity. She open-eyed and open-minded and open thoughts. But you don't know it's Girl Bird's Eye representing for the Steph-I Fire Show.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, Styles FM 96.1.
And
Yeah, from the day I know myself, I always thought I was a black man. Yeah, I grew up in this island, and I man, as a little youth, well black. Me thought no skin pigmentation, deep melanin, black youth. And then the one of the community that I live early, which is Harborview, I used to have some Chinese, a family of Chinese who was live right in front of me, Mrs. Lee. Cause you know, if you know Lee is Chin and whatever, but Mrs. Lee and her family and Junior, her son and her daughter and whatever, nice little family. And as a youth, I mean, whenever we get in a quarreling and entanglement as boy, and we start getting the cussing and tracing, some way, somehow, we always go to race to try to inflict the greatest feeling of hurt. Yeah, we always draw the line there. So within my little circle now and the community and the time that I was living now, I had friends of all races. Never really know that they were of different races, but I have friends who we know say, well, that was a Chinaman, and we know say him was an Indian, or we used to say coolie, not really knowing that coolie was also a derogatory term. But you know, we get these terms and we're using them, and them call we nigger because you have some good thing about catch a nigger by him toe. Something everybody go. In the mind more, catch a nigger by him toe, if you ever let him go, in the mind no. So as a youth, I used to hear these racial terms being bandied about, but it was never attached with anything personal about it. For the family in front of me, you know, that were Chinese, you know, whenever we clash on the road with them, Junior and them problem, start cuss, we used to tell them, say, go away, China name dog. And that was always a big insult. And that always quiet them up and them go home. And then when the Indian man them quarrel, we say, cool the barbershop and Kalalo and yam it. And them have something to say about nigger this and nigger that. So the idea of racial identity, not very clear, wasn't clear within I as a youth in Jamaica. But I didn't know so I black. The identity that I recognized as early as 3 years old was Rastafari. Because I used to see Rastaman moving through the streets of Central Kingston and Eastern Kingston. And my first composition in primary school, what I want to be, was that I want to be a Rastaman. And you know what I'm saying for my mother. So, racial identity now really never carry much weight in a place like Jamaica as a youth. So you know what happened to me now? I get on the BOAC and land in North America in a place called New York City. And when I land there, it was 4 days after them killed Martin Luther King. So I man land into a riot. And I man see buildings being torn apart and really looking like TV. But the reality was that is when I land into those shores now, I would become aware that I was a black man. And it happened through my journey through football in the Russian club, wherein I really was the only black player in the team. And the players after a while made it known. So blackness is something that I was able to embrace very early, without any fear and without any doubt. But what we find happening now within us as a people is that our religious education does not motivate us to embrace anything that is black. Our academic education also reinforces the idea that nothing black is good. And to top it off, the dictionary that we are told to use to get meaning defines black in the most negative way. So all around us, all that surrounds us in the atmosphere is negative as it applies to black. And when we look now into our own social plantation structure, we find that it has this pyramid shape, this triangular shape. And at the very, very bottom, the broad bottom, we find the black people pile up at the very bottom. And as we go up the pyramid, it gets smaller and smaller in numbers. But the racial configuration change. Because as you move away toward the top of the pyramid, we see the texture of the people begin to change. We begin to see space now for the Indians, space for the Chinese, space for the people who mix up themselves in colors. And then at the ultimate top of the triangle, we see white people. But in Jamaica, we're not focused on the white people at the top. And we're not focused on the fact that they're of a different race. Because they themselves have motivated a motto that tells us that out of many, there is one. And we, the many, black majority, are discriminated against and held in an economic situation that the benefits of our labor can continue to go to those who are at the very top. The Columbus Project of plantation labor still enforced. And this is a moment to pause and to examine now if there's such a thing as even racism in Jamaica. And what is it really now in North America? And more critically, how is the Black Lives Movement shaking the foundation in Europe, where racism is more deeply embedded than even in a place like North America? Because we have to remember that it is the Europeans, long before the black man began to land in North America, it was the Europeans who were capitalizing and colonizing the labors of black people and of the African continent. So why you think it's today they have been taking down statues in places like Belgium? Why do you think they have taken on statues in places in Europe? Because Europe is a belly of racism. You see the effect it has on our sporting players. Racism is a virus. And the more black people become conscious of that virus, is the more we begin to solidify ourselves against it. And the best way to fight against the virus of racism is to develop self-reliance. It's to develop self-esteem. To develop self-awareness. And the concept of self now, we have to begin to examine. Because it is the same Europeans, through men like Sigmund Freud and men like Charles Darwin, and I'm saying these men were racist. And it's their racist psychological theories and scientific theories that have embraced black people, that have us grappling with theories of evolution, with theories of creation, with theories of personality, and theories of psychoanalysis. These are the men. And within all of them studies and all of them teachings, there is racism. Racism goes as far back as into Greek society, where the Greeks, who claim that they are the founders of democracy, articulated that for the democracy to work, you have to have a vast amount of people who are underpaid and underemployed. And that brings the birth of capitalism. This is our wake up. This is the metamorphosis. Ailing up, virgin from the person from Oregon, first time listener on the WhatsApp. Yeah, we say give thanks for joining up. And we have to deal with Annette in Duckensfield. Greetings, give thanks that you're listening. And the whole of St. Thomas is tuned in. Kevin in Tampa, Eli, your parish now is on a very, very serious stage because the virus, the corona is making a second wave there. So I them taking care of themselves and dealing with them health and preparing for even more critical times to come. Metamorphosis, Styles FM. Iman Blak here.
Why you so covetous, yeah?
Yeah. Yes. Run it.
From nowhere, through a caravan, around the campfire light, a lovely woman in motion, with hair as dark as night. Her eyes were like that of a cat in the dark, that hypnotized me with love. She was a gypsy woman. She was a gypsy woman. She danced all round and round and round to a guitar melody. From afar, her face was all aglow. How she enchanted me. I love you, gypsy woman. I love you, gypsy woman. All through the caravan, she was dancing to all the glow, waiting for the rising sun, and everyone was having fun. I hate to see the lady go, knowing she never know that I love her. I love
One of the most important aspects of racism is that the practitioners of racism tend to have this deeply embedded self-concept of superiority. Because we've realized at the same time that wherever there's colonization and capture and conquering, there must be some level of inequality. And where the inequality sets up is usually within the culture. It is where the colonizer tries to impose their culture on the people that they have considered to be captives. So we have to be aware of what is called a cultural war, a cultural struggle. And in that cultural struggle, the colonizer tries to impose his culture on the indigenous population. Part of the way to impose your culture is through the education system and through the religious system. We have to be just aware of that. And the white man has not wasted one moment when the opportunity presents itself to impose his cultural ideas. And that imposition is with an attitude of superiority. It's also with an attitude of, I am your master. I am superior to you. And what does he do to establish those type of thinking? How does he prove it? He goes into the classroom and he goes into certain experimentation, all with the objective to prove not necessarily his superiority, but to prove the inferiority now of the black man. Much of his effort is not to prove his superiority, but to prove the inferiority of the black people. And you can begin to prove that inferiority through the church system, through the education system. And I maintain now that one of the foundational places where racism is established is in our religious education. Yeah, racism. The racism that suggests that one race now is superior to the other. And I'm talking about the white people. The Caucasian people projecting the impression that they are a superior race to the people of pigment, to the people of melanin. And they go into producing literature that they argue that has been translated over centuries. But I just going to bring to the item attention racism in the Bible. And racism on the first page of the Bible. I'm going to show the item why now we have to move from racism to systemic racism. Why that term now has come to the front. And the item can take out them Bible, you know. Yeah, man, can everybody get one? And we're talking about the first page of the story called the Genesis. And recognize ourselves now as black people now, you know, just being turned loose from a plantation and striving for equality amongst white people, striving for them to recognize us as equal to them, striving to do things to make them feel comfortable when they're around us, striving to do things to make sure that they laugh and they're entertained when they're around us. And so within this psychology, the first page in the Bible, the book that they give us now as the Word of God, because remember now, you know, we don't get programmed to fear God. That has been drilled into us over and over the centuries and the decades. From 1400, for 1400 years, 400 years, they've been beating it into us that we must fear God. And in getting that information beaten into our psyche, and with the fear embedded into God now, we are given a story of how God is going to create the same world that we live in. And it's about time we question if it's the same world that the white man lives in as well. Or is it a different world? Because our world seems to be more brutal than the white world that the white man lives in. But then he gives us a book. And he gives us the story. And I'm going to show you that the idea of white supremacy is in the book of Genesis. It is in the creation story. That the creation story is a racist story. And I'll tell you why. It's in the creation story. And check your Bible. It says in the beginning. It says in the beginning, God created. And in that creation process, God said, let there be light. It could easily be read, God said, let there be white. Let there be white, and there was light. And the God separated the light that was good from the darkness, which was obviously not good. This is a racist ideology. This is the beginning of establishing that light is white and that white is superior to dark. And we are programmed early to connect light with intelligence and darkness with ignorance. And we say it without thinking. We cuss one another, tell you one another, oh, you're so dark. And we know what it means. We never say, oh, you're so white. Because white is reserved for excellence and virtue. And so the programming of racism begins in that first page. And it goes on to emphasize the importance of light and ultimately declaring that the Son of that God is the Son of light. It's a very deep program. But all programs can be reprogrammed. Metamorphosis.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
We regret to inform our Styles listeners that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be no fan fusion party outside. Now that we got that out the way, let's tell you the good news. We're having a fan fusion radio party Saturday, July 11th, live on Styles FM 96.1, 96.5, 96.7. Also online at www.stylzfm.com on the Styles FM app and TuneIn Radio.
Memories don't live like people do.
All your Styles FM DJs will be live in studio playing songs from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a neighbor to tell a stranger. Fan fusion radio party is on. Make sure you mask up and floss up. This is quality entertainment you don't want to pass up. Live on Styles FM, Saturday, July 11th. The world listens.
Fan fusion!
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar. For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, native audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound, native audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events audible.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Native Broadcasting Network or Styles FM.
Time to tell the world now, victims of persecution and conquest. But we know our history. Who built the pyramid? We are from the Nile Valley. Tell the truth to humanity. We all know your aim. Come on, historian. We all have a claim to fame. Time to tell the world now, We all know your aim. Come on, historian. We all have a claim to fame.
Yeah, Metamorphosis. Rolling into Alkebulan. This is our story. This is I and I before we got infected by the virus out of Europe called white people. Yes, we have to begin to recognize that we never always live with these people. And we have been in the earth for centuries, thousands of years before these people came out of their caves. And we recognize the importance of the state of nature when we talk about the origin of people. One of the Europeans who have a great influence in thought on the Western world, and maybe the whole world, is a man called Charles Darwin. And Darwin wrote two important books, one called The Origin of the Species. You hear what that name? The Origin of the Species, the beginning of life, where it come from. I'm going to write that. And the other one was called The Descent of Man. And this one brethren here now is going to outline for everybody the beginning of life on the planet as him see it. And because of the influence of the Europeans, Darwin's theory stands strong. And Darwin theory is referred to as a foundation concept in science. Okay. Well, this is where I and I come from now before Darwin even born. I and I are the original scientists. The ancient black people. We are the original scientists. We are the masters of chemistry and physics and mathematics. And we have the evidence to prove it in our architecture. When we speak about racism and the concept of superiority, the Europeans are the ones who are suffering from an inferiority complex. They are suffering bad. And it is nature, not the design of the black man. It was the design of nature why the white man ends up in this psychological and physical position. Because through nature, I and I could be defined as a sun people. Our existence is under the sun. We need the sun to survive. We, like the green plants, are connected to the solar powers of the earth. Solar radiation penetrates the green plants and allows the plant to provide food, starch, sugar. It also allows the black skin to provide vitamins for the body itself. There's more in common with black people and the green plants than with black people and animals. This is our position. That we have more in common with the green plants along the level of pigmentation, along the level of relationship to the sun. We are more in common with the green plants than we have with animals. But the European have developed some animal theories. Charles Darwin is a primary contributor to animal theories of development and is backed up now by Sigmund Freud, who develops psychological theories based upon animal history. This is Europe. And they are trying to prove through all of these various disciplines that number one, the black man is inferior, and number two, by in other words, and the reverse, that the white man is a superior being. But look at what he does when he goes into ancient Egypt now. When he comes into Alkebulan, One of the first things they realized about the continent was the soil of the River Nile when it flooded over, and it made the land black. Yeah, black soil. So the land was called the land of the blacks because the people weren't called Africans. The people were called people of Kemet. And the word Kem, K-H-E-M, really means black. So you see, no matter which way you run and hide, you can't escape. Blackness is an identity. You can always talk about it as a color. You can always speak about a condition. You can describe it as any part of speech. But in the foundation of blackness, it is a state of identity. It's a state of consciousness. It's a state of energy. So what the Europeans have been doing for all of these hundreds of years, they've been trying to prove through their own type of what they call research that the pyramids were not built by black people, because you don't want to attribute so much intelligence and science and chemistry to people who are black. Remember now, the program is that black is inferior, and black is negative, and black is evil. This is a program established by white men in Europe and pushed on us through education and through the church. But if we continue to reflect and hold on to ancient Egypt as a gateway into black consciousness, we realize the importance of ancient Egypt. We realize that when we visit ancient Egypt through the teachings of men like Dr. Joseph Ben Yochanan, Dr. Henry Clark, we have our scholars, our Egyptologists, who have established the blackness of the pharaohs, the blackness of the queens, the blackness of the dignities of ancient Egypt. What the Europeans have been trying to do is to whitewash the coloration. In other words, them purposefully moving away the images that are black and making them white. So 25 years from now, we may see a picture of Bob Marley look like a total white man. Metamorphosis.
Here is a story told to the children of Africa.
We love the children of Africa, teaching the children. Oh, da 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 da, la da da da. Oi, black eye, black hair, black skin, black queen, stand majestic with the black king. Today I'll sing you a black song. You need to hear about beautiful black things. Cause most time we hear about black, we hear about black magic and black witches. Blacklist, black book, black market, Black Friday, you spend off your black riches. I've never seen a doctor in black, nor seen a black pill to cure no black people. But I've seen bush doctors like Tash and Molly resurrect like a real black beetle. Malcolm, Marcus, Martin. When you see Walter Rodney, ask him how you not hear about how well laughing. So when the little offspring asking, tell them they never told us that black is beautiful. They never told us black is beauty. They never told us that black is beautiful. They never told us. They never told us that black is beautiful. You a behave and a go on like you never spent 500 years on a farm. The same chain you are wear and a go on is another black life in Sierra Leone. Boy, them find out Mama Earth got gold then. Them mind out Mama Earth black soul then. You work hard just forget a black card. Same card where you swipe by back your black gold them. Hold on, I see no faces long, but this is not a racist song. This is a song for the children who was never told about where the race is from. They never hear it in them favorite songs. Everybody calm as slavery's done. What I go on when the babies come? I start read about things like Dogans, Black Kemet and Kush, Black Kings, Black Senate and books. We teach about pyramids and put real significance to we physical looks. So every word when me sing black, in my world everything black. Black, white, black, right back. So don't be
Yeah, we have
surprised
to
if
embrace. We have to embrace the notion of black. But it's so difficult because our religious programming that we get from about age 3 have black as demonic. Black as devil. That individuals are refusing to call themselves black or who want to be identified with devil. It's a very deep program. But it can be unplugged. It can be reformatted. But this racism, the ism that surrounds the race, is something that we need to be able to deal with. There's a text that says, it just says racism, and then it follows up now by saying, we do not need to seek their approval. Now, I will respond to that in this way. The we, obviously, I would suggest, I would think that it's the black people you're talking about. And their approval, the their, I would suggest, I would think rather, is the white people we're talking about. But look how the Western world set up. Them set it up in such a way that they become the arbiters of everything we do. They set up competitions and contests of beauty, and they are the judges. They set up examinations and degrees, and in order to pass these tests, they become the final judge. They set up a jurisprudence, a court system. And as much as Jamaica claims to be this independent nation that has its sovereignty, we can't solve our own legal issues through the courts unless we go to England. So that dependency on white brain power is because we have a feeling that there's nothing powerful in our brain that is black. And that is brainwashing. That is European brainwashing. That is racism comes in out in the education system. Racism coming out in religion. Racism coming out in the employment system. Racism coming out in the health system. Because we were beginning to see these disparities, under COVID-19. These inequalities began to show up. But you see, with the murder of Floyd, a different kind of thing open up. A different kind of thing open up. And not only are we seeing injustice generally to working people and unemployed, we're seeing injustice now directed at a specific race of people. And this race of people have been at the end of this for the last 400 years in America. And the cry now is that, will these uprisings bring any change? And the change will come with knowledge. And change will come with insight. And the knowledge that we need about this change is that we can't look for anything necessarily dynamic now in the United States. Because the ultimate change in America, in terms of the laws, really rests with places like the Supreme Court. And in those institutions, don't talk about racism. Because that is the foundation of racism in America. It's in the legal system. It's in the penal system. We have to understand how racism works in America. Because at emancipation, when the blacks were told that they were now free, the white man still needed free, unemployed, free, cheap labor. And as much as they released the black men in America and tell them that they're free, they were being rounded up under all kind of laws and codes and turned into criminals. So if every offense is a crime, it means you become a criminal over any offense. And once you become criminalized, you become a member of the workforce in the prisons in America. The point I'm making is that racism and capitalism, they trod hand in hand, especially in places like the Western world where black people have been the labor force. And the capitalism is a system that insists that you need a large pool of unemployed people that can be exploited for cheap labor. So the prison system in America becomes the point where slaves are transformed into workers. And the prisons are owned by private sector groups. So racism functions in the legal system, in the penal system in America. And officers are told that they must go out and bring in a certain quota of black youths. The police institution established to serve and to protect and to reassure. We always have to ask, serve, protect, and reassure which members of the society. Because it is certainly not everybody. So our intelligence asks the question, who then is the police force established to serve? And we look at the genesis of the police force. In the United States, as slave catchers and slave patrol, and in Jamaica, as a force to put down the Morant Bay Revolution. So it is not serving the black people in the general. It is not reassuring the black people about anything. It's reassuring the wealthy white people that they are safe. The reassurance is not for the poor people because there's nothing to be reassured about. The reassurance is for the wealthy white people that they will not be attacked by the poor black majority. This racism philosophy is deep in Europe, deep in South Africa, deep in United States, and deep in Jamaica. It is wherever capitalist forces are dominant and the white people try to remain as the supreme group. So ultimately we're going to need a prescription. And the prescription is obvious if we look at how the globe operates. Because the Chinaman now, who is now on the cusp of becoming the world leader, he has established himself so strong at home in China that if you trouble a Chinaman in Israel, you have to answer to Beijing. If you trouble a Chinaman anywhere in the world, you have to answer to Beijing. Because the Chinaman is controlling his own home continent. And likewise, even a small group like the Jews, who are heavily reinforced and backed by power in Israel. If you trouble a Jew in Yowie, Israel and America rise up. We need to be able to have black people in that position. We can only get in that position when the African continent becomes a respectable place and controlled by black forces. Then you trouble a black man anywhere, you have to respond to the African continent. That is where we have to go in on. That is the direction we have to move. And to get to that direction, we have to strengthen ourselves as individuals, consciously, and those who are capable and equipped I suggest to you that you make yourself available to the reconstruction of the African continent. Because the African youths are rising up. They're not taking anything that the ancestors took. They now are becoming militant. And they are not afraid of violence. Because you see what happened? The white man's greatest weapon of communication is violence. And we have been trained not to retaliate in violence, but leave all that vengeance now to his white God. The same white God that him give us, him tell us, leave vengeance to that white God when it comes to oppression from him. But when you oppress the white man, him come looking after you. And him search you down for years until him find you. And him kill you. And then him say he has exact justice. Black people don't want justice. We're afraid of revenge. And so the little white boy comes into the church and kills black people. And before rigor mortis set into the black people, we forgive him. It's an illness. It's no quality. It's an illness. And we need to heal ourselves. We need to recognize black people. That black is a sign of honor. Why you think white people spend so much time with suntan lotion and trying to change their tone? Metamorphosis.
Going down the drain. Brothers and my sister going down the drain. The Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. I want to know that Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. They take us from Africa and brought us in Jamaica. They brought us in Jamaica. They even stole our name and let us work the sugar cane. To know our sweat go in vain. Time when we lose and time we refuse. Time when we gain and time when we strain. So you please call upon your name and don't play the game of fair. Because the Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. I want to know the Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. Yeah, I use them brain. Use them brain. Oh, it's a shame. Say Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. I want to know, so Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. No chain on our feet, but still we are not free. Oh, yeah. See, all they using us is strategy. Yeah. So please have some mercy on us. Don't treat us this way. I know one day you will get your pay. Oh, hey. Then release the chain, them I use them brain.
Yeah, the sound of Juna Weed. Babylon release the chains, but them I use them brain. And so we have to look into serious things now. Because the emancipation process happened in America, it happened in the Caribbean. They did release the chains. But something happened to the brain of the black man. Something serious. Because only in damage to the brain that a minority group of people could control a majority. Something has to be wrong with the people, their brain. Something has to be damaged. And it's a damage now that needs to be repaired. So even as we cry for reparations in the financial, we need to have a reparation of our psychology, of repair the damage to our psyche, done by the false teachings of men like Sigmund Freud, who tell us that we have ego, and id, and all of these characteristics that make up our personality, that we behaving like animals. That you have intelligent black people telling that, yes, we are human beings because we are higher animals. Rubbish. That's a Darwinian concept of European evolution from the primates into human beings. But human beings are supposed to be the highest form of animals. I and I don't come from the animal culture. And we have to reject that theory of evolution and primates. And we're also rejecting coming out of dirt, out of a garden. Yeah, we can reject both of them. It don't have to be either, it can be neither. And so we think on our own, out of that bondage. And we think creatively and freely. And we start to things like the Dogon Empire, we start to things like Orion, and we start seeing solar systems that are greater than the Earth, and we begin to open our imagination and get beyond this Earth sphere that we are locked into. So the release of the chains have not freed us from the isms of racism. And there's a text that says, it says something about classism. Wait, what that text is, Cassidy? Somebody asked about if I'm speaking about classism when I talk about Jamaica rather than racism. And you know, in Jamaica now, we are on a whole heap of delusions here, you know, denials. Because here you don't face racism face up. Because of the majority of the population is black. So white racism now is more subtle. You have to deal with another type of ism to overpower and to sort of overlay racism. Because I say racism is the foundation now coming out of slavery and getting capital out of free labor based upon teaching that one race is superior and the other one is inferior. And that inferior race must become servants to so-called master race. Is racism that? Is that ism? Trying to establish that one race, because of their qualities, put them in a superior position. And if you do the biology of that type of argument, you realize that it is really in a reverse. That without saying it, it is the black man that is a superior being in his physiological construction. And it is proven every time there is an event of contestation. That's why we have a word called sports. And in the world of sports, we deal with superiority freely, without any handicap. We discuss superiority in sports as a norm, where teams try to establish superiority. Individuals try to establish superiority over their opponents. So in boxing, it's about superiority. But when we come into the other areas of life, them tell us, don't worry about superiority because everybody's equal. That is rubbish. How can the black man be superior in the world of sports and entertainment, but in the other areas of life, he's not equal? He's lesser. If you check them kind of teachment, then now you know. Because if we can be superior in the world of sports and entertainment, why in that superiority also in the world of, not in the world of intellect and academics, of science and technology? It's just a matter of where we direct our energy. And the plantation societies encourage black people to put our energies in entertainment, sports, and religion. And we have mastered those fields. And when the world stopped last 3 months, we realized how much black people contribute to education, to sports, to entertainment, to service industries. It's black people make that thing go, but guess what? We don't own it. We are slaves. So as much as the chains have been taken off, the chains have been put on our pocket, and the chains now are put on our brain. And we can't think for ourselves as black people because we don't want to be black. We want to be brown and off-white. And we want to be mixed. That we can deny blackness to say that we are part Scottish. And how much of you is Irish. And how much of you is Greek. It's a dangerous condition. But in the present dispensation, there is an awakening. And it took a murder on television. It took the suffering of a black man 500 seconds to death, where there is no interruption, no intervention, no divine intervention, and the man died. And the man who killed him is up and around and may escape death as a penalty, because the penal system in America is based upon white privilege. It's based upon ideologies and ideals, isms that show that the white man, even in his poorest state, is still superior to the black man who's intellectual and rich. So we can't try to change white people. It's not enough to try to change white people. We must change ourselves. And what the reality must come to is that they don't like us and we don't have to like them. And it's not about liking. It's about knowledge of ourselves and care. Care for our own selves first. Care for our families. So there are so much lessons to be drawn from the protest. And what we've also seen from the protest is that all of the rules of COVID-19 have gone out of the window. There's no more emphasis on social distancing. And there's less emphasis now on the mask. And we have to wonder, in real life, what really lies ahead? What lies ahead in terms of our health now and the second wave of this deadly virus that could very well be on the horizon? And if you check the black people and our condition, we seem to be the most vulnerable based upon our slave life and the lack of proper nutrition. But there is resolution, because the medicine for all form of virus rests in nature. And so we turn to our natural foods. And we begin to put down the processed food. And we begin to develop indigenous ways of creating medicine from plants. We return to nature. We return to the superiority of plant life over animal life as food. And we begin to think about the idea of being equal as a non-idea. But I should never be trying to be equal to white people. Once we join that struggle, it means we're subconsciously inferior. And they love it when we strive to be equal to white people. We must get off of that equality struggle. We don't want to be equal to white people. We want to be self-reliant. We want to have self-determination. We want to be able to make our own decisions based upon our own intellect and our own scholars. So self-confidence. And the philosophy that we need to help us get there is already established. And it's not in the Bible. Because the philosophy of Jesus and Moses have not moved black people beyond the point where we are today. We need to look into our own people. And one of the first people we can look at is Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Look at Garvey's philosophy of self-reliance, education and empowerment. And we don't want to carry Garvey now into any ism. We don't want to turn Garvey's philosophy and opinions into no Garveyism. And a long time Rastaman show us that there's no Rastafariism. We don't have no ism. We don't have no schism. We're talking about consciousness and lifting consciousness, that one becomes aware more of their own self. And that self-awareness now needs some clarity, because we have individuals who see themselves as the center of everything and nothing else. And they have individuals talking about loving themselves first before them loving anybody else. I don't know that working, no. Because I find that when people love themselves first, they don't have no space to love nobody else. They become like Trump, highly narcissistic with them self-love. We need to reject some of them kind of ideology and think about a concept like care. I realize that before we woke up the Europeans, we never know about love talk, you know. We never love. But you could see care and respect moving through African societies. It's this illusion called love, and riding off into the sunset and living forever and all them kind of joke business that we get caught up into. And dying and marrying and living until death do us part, and we are killing each other under these philosophies that are negative to black people. We reject those things and we're thinking consciously. Black lives matter all the while.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
It's Wow Factor Tuesdays with Chungy and Shelly. Every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's entertainment and interaction at its best, with features like the Share to Care segment, the Uprising 10 Countdown, and the ever-controversial Love Break. Yes, it's the Wow Factor. Your Tuesday mornings will never be the same again.
We regret to inform our Styles listeners that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be no fan fusion party outside. Now that we got that out the way, let's tell you the good news. We are having a Fan Fusion radio party Saturday, July 11th, live on Styles FM 96.1, 96.5, 96.7. Also online at www.stylzfm.com on the Styles FM app and TuneIn Radio.
Memories don't live like people do.
All your Styles FM DJs will be live in studio playing songs from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a neighbor to tell a stranger. Fan Fusion radio party is on. Make sure you mask up and floss up. This is quality entertainment you don't want to pass up. Live on Styles FM, Saturday, July 11th. The world listens.
Fan Fusion!
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Yeah, Rastaman, intellectual diplomat Peter Touch. The man that show a long time say Africa really is a forward place for black people, you know. But don't think that all black people going to take up themselves from Europe and South America and Caribbean and take themselves into Africa. That's not practical. So in here I want to talk about repatriation. Don't those things say everybody who's black going to pick up themselves and go and live in one of those 54 countries. Only the persons who can contribute to the countries that they return to are worthy of returning. Because if you lie on your teeth and you're a crook as a black man in the West, don't try to go Africa with that thing, but you stay over here with it. So Africa is not a place where anybody can go hide out. And things like the Christian heaven, where you just go there and your belly run with milk and honey. I said that's a visit to Jamaica in 1966. One of the things I remember, and as I tell, I see Isaac with my own two eyes. I see him. Nobody else, as far as I know, never said Jesus said, But them have him as Savior. And when a Rasta man tell you His Majesty is a Savior, he might tell you about a man who him say. So we have to begin to respect what is real from what is imagined. So we're looking at the Africans. And the Africans now brought into this hemisphere as Kemetic people. Not even as Africans, but as black people. And black people don't just mean people from the African continent, Because when the Spanish invaded South America, it's black people they run up into. They run up into the Aztecs and the Incas. It's black people. And we have to move the borders of being black to just being people from the continent of Africa. Blackness is a condition that is based upon the melanin and the pigmentation that is in your skin and in your eyes and in your eyes and in your ears. In the regions that give you the quality of identity as a race. So, black people, man point for them shoes until they say that shoes black and also me stay. It's because the level of the meditation is not positive. And it's realizing that carbon is black. Yeah, carbon is black. And which other element you find in the universe more than carbon? So we can't escape the notion of things that are black. And at the level of people now, African people of black melanin, that's what separates the people from the people who don't have melanin. In other words, now, what the white man has done has given us a negative definition. Him call us non-white. You understand that? Him say we are non-white. He is really non-black. Yeah, he is a non-black being. But because of his position of power and racism, he's elevating his race by diminishing our race. The Chinaman now has established his racial identity that the white man can't diminish him. He used to call him all kind of names, slant eye, call him this, call him that, but guess what happened? Him build up him technology and him military and him money. White man have to be backing off and asking for negotiations. The Indian race, though the poverty is vast in India, they've established their technology and their space and their economics and their computer life to get respect from the rest of the world. And they recognize the homeland as India. We must begin to see Africa as a homeland, whether we are on the continent or not. That's the level of awareness I need, but it's difficult to get to that state of awareness if you don't want to acknowledge that you're black. If you're going to emphasize the percentage of rapist blood in your system, it shows that you don't really want to associate with black people and then just be a nigger and done. The greatest problem we may face, is the problem between the Negroes who are trying to integrate and trying to be Jesus and trying to be Christian-like, and the black people, Garvey, Lumumba, Malcolm X, black nationalist separatists who into economic self-reliance. And our youths of today, the same youths now who people used to call vipers, rising up in America and rising up in Africa on the continent. And they're not taking no more hogwash because they have witnessed, they have realized in this moment that Eurocentric, white people, religious world order that we have been hooking up from Columbus, that this world order set up with Jesus of Nazareth at the savior and the centerpiece, the youths of today realize it don't work. They have realized that that construct has fallen down because the savior of the world couldn't save Floyd. We watch for 500 seconds a man's life being leaked out for 500 seconds, and the savior of the world was somewhere watching too. And watch that man dead in front of us. conscious youths of today no longer need that savior. They recognize that they have to save themselves. Now I put up a post. The post said that the Eurocentric religious world order with Jesus of Nazareth is dead. And one of my friends, Facebook friend, rejected that statement. She said, no. She said, the Euro-American white Jesus is dead, not Yeshua. All right. So, you know, amongst our own black population now, we are black people now who are telling you that it's not Jesus because of our kind of linguistic issue, that the man never named Jesus, he named Yeshua. So we are still putting reality to a figment. We're giving the figment a different name because we're trying to make it real. We're trying to make the Savior concept real. We're even trying to blacken the concept. We're saying that Yeshua was a black man. And we're supposed to get a comfort now, still holding on to the idea that here is a black man who is coming to the world without any sperm, sent by the oppressor's God. To save I from what? They say we must save our soul. Well, I'm going to tell you where your soul is. Cassidy, you know, say, I know exactly where the soul is now. I'm not talking about the foot bottom, you know. Black people, they never tell us this. But you see, all of you trying to save your soul, just realize that your skin, your skin is your soul. Yeah, so try and save your skin. Metamorphosis.
About that since I was 5 years old. It's a long way, ooh, long road. Marcus tried, Martin Luther King died. A lot of them die along the wayside. It's a long way, ooh, long road. Jesus died and everybody cried. A lot of them die along the wayside. It's a long way, long road. I wanted to know.
It's a really, really a long journey. So many black souls have been persecuted, all in the name of freedom. And black people must recognize now that we don't even want to be get into this freedom talk, because Rastaman would say you can't free and dumb. So we ain't no freedom. What we want is what everybody wants: liberation. No set of people can be free unless they recognize the concept of liberation. And the black people generally have been locked into this thing called emancipation. And so we haven't yet reached the level where we need to be liberated. And to liberate ourselves must require a certain amount of force. Because whoever holds you in captivity will not release it just because you say nice words, or you sing songs, or you march. The very protest that we see right now in America, it take over, you know. What began as a protest against police brutality, you have other groups who hijacked that protest long time, you know. And we have to remember in America now, you know. The football player, Kaepernick took a knee to protest against police brutality. And him get thrown out of the NFL, and he was ridiculed and riled by the very president of the United States. So we see where the racism also rests in the highest office of America. The president is not afraid to declare that he's a proud racist. No, I don't really have a problem with that. Marcus Garvey would not have a problem with that, because what the brother has done is made it very clear that we should not try to like him, and he's not trying to like us. But if we can do business, let us do business. And that's the way certain white men want to deal. But we have black people who want to be more than that. They want to be friends with them. They want to go to them house. They want to have the women in bed with them. They want to have white people all over them. And that is a great problem, because these people lack self-esteem. And they may even have money. And they may even have status, but they lack self-esteem. The Jamaican issue now about classism and racism. The plantation in the Caribbean deal with the racism and the separation of the black people in a different way. Because the minority population is of the white group. Another method is used to separate the people. What really is class? What does it mean to be of a certain class? Where that term come from? Of course, it's coming out of our training, and that there's a higher class and there's an upper class. And then we hear that if there's an upper class, then, well, you know, there must be a lower class too. Well, where is room for the middle? And so we find room for upper class, middle class, and lower class. Who are all these groups all about? Well, the upper class now is based upon education and money. So the class system is based upon wealth and education. That is the first thing we need to know about this class thing that them create. It's based upon your wealth and your education. Though those two things are distant from the black people coming off of the plantation. There is nobody coming off the emancipated black person who have any wealth, who are having education. So they are no class. So the black people from day one never had any class in a place like Jamaica. They were considered to be slaves and ex-slaves. Class was for those who had money already. And for those who had plenty money now, which is usually the planter class, you could identify that class by a certain race. So race is really the foundation of the plantation. And as they begin to take in other racial groups, and they begin to have a vast population of black people, a different methodology now come into being. So this class thing now is wealth and education. So eventually now, when education began to become available now to the black population now, black people say they have a chance now to move up in class, because access is there now to education and money. And so the struggle now is to get away from being poor. And not just poor, but being in the lower class. Because you can be poor, you know, and be intelligent and educated to a certain extent. So the struggle now amongst the black population now is to escape the lower class to get into this higher class. But you also notice that the shade of the people them changing. That as you try to go into this higher class, you're moving away from the very black people to the people who are what we call brown, the house Negroes. And so there's a color scheme now. You begin to realize on the island, this is not in America, you know. This color scheme not in America, you know, you're either black or you're not. But on the plantation, no. It's more subtle and more sophisticated in the separation. So you have these people now who will try now to look brown. Yeah, they know that they are black, but they will now try to look brown to get the social movement. So you understand more now why people desire to be browning. Because you're recognized by the people in the higher class. So we get this thing now that we're calling colorism in Jamaica. It's still race-based. So the classism now is another delusion. Because you see, when the black people get the education now, and the highest education in Jamaica is university, so you get that now, all right? So you move up now in class, you know, and you get a good little job. We get nice money, and you say, yeah, you have money now, so you've gone up higher now in a class. But guess what happened? There's a ceiling set. And that ceiling is set where you can't go beyond that, because beyond that ceiling is race run the place. Where you can't go amongst those families and integrate. You can't get those women, and they don't want to deal with you. The same thing is in America, where the black man who becomes so wealthy through sports can climb the social ladder until him take up a white woman. And she becomes part of the ticket now to get up into white society. We have an illness. Because we are suffering from an inferiority complex. And we're trying to establish equality to white people who by nature are inferior to us. Otherwise they wouldn't have to come into Africa to get conscious and to rob our libraries and to burn our archives and to steal our things and have everything in Europe in museum. Everything is stolen. We have to come to know ourselves as black people. And being conscious of your superiorness does not make you racist, because it doesn't put us in a position to have to hate anybody. We're not into any hatred, because racism is based upon hatred, intimidation, violence. We're talking about a racial consciousness. We begin to respect our race, respect our achievements, and begin to show respect now to the supreme in our race, which is our woman. The woman is a supreme being in the black race. And when the white man came to Africa, he recognized that she was supreme. And when he checked the Egyptian files, and he checked into the Holy Trinity, he found the black woman to be supreme. Metamorphosis.
For complete auto repairs and services, come to Akon Auto Technology, located at 33 Bumble Crescent, Port Antonio, Jamaica. We offer specialist services in wheel alignment and wheel balancing, brake drum and disc rotary servicing, state-of-the-art ultrasonic cleaning and testing of your fuel injectors. We also stock an assorted range of auto service parts, tires, and motorcraft batteries. If we don't have it, we will source it for you. Call us at 876-715-5205 or email akonautotech16@gmail.com. Akon Auto Technology, beyond the typical auto mechanic shop.
I saw the thing go. Rastis representing for Clubber in Wednesdays on Styles FM from 1 to 5 p.m. every Wednesday with the Clubber boss. Tune them. Hear me now. High rev juggling, the beer accent, electrifying energy. Steer them. You don't know. Clubber them. Razatak representing.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM, for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Strengthen your mind. We're living in serious times.
Keep your heart clean and strong. Let your God self be established and strengthen your mind. We're living in serious times. It's such a mysterious time. We're living in serious times. Strengthen your mind. We're living in serious times. It's such a mysterious time. We're living in serious times. Take this advice. A mother once gave to her son. Give not all your strength unto the lecherous woman. No to the ways that can destroy a true king man. 'Cause Delilah's on the prowl and she's a deadly one. So strengthen your mind. We're living in serious times.
Yes, the sound of Desiree. We have to straighten our mind. We have to straighten our brains with proper brain food. Because in this time, you know, your meditation can carry you far away. Your thinking power, brain power, self-reliance. I think yesterday, the program had people celebrating Father's Day. It's one of those days set up to allow the males to feel as though they are worthy of something. It doesn't carry the excitement of Mother's Day, you know. Because Mother's Day, you know, more money you have to spend. You know. Father's Day, you know, it's kind of like some tricklings, few events, but Mother's Day run the place. But it had me thinking about the concept of father. And from we began into this Columbus project in the 1494, I'm thinking to myself today, when we celebrate Father's Day, who really and what really represents the father for black man? Who's the symbolic representation of the black father? You know? Do we have such an imagery? And then when I began to even penetrate the whole concept a little deeper now, from the Columbus Project, you know, from 1494, our concept of father has been totally almost obliterated because chattel slavery destroy family. There's no concept of a family in the plantation life. Man drop sperm, a woman take wood and pick the barn. And when that gone, the man move to a different plantation and him drop sperm again. So our recent history is animalistic. Our recent history, psychologically, along the line of behavior, has not been as a family should operate. So where did we get this notion of father from? Where did black people get in the Western world get this idea of father when there was no father figure and no father representation on plantation life? So they released black people out of emancipation and we begin to breed up again. But father is still a strange concept. Because lack of economics force man to be moving around and man can't stable. So family life is always on a tether. So I begin to look into this father concept now and realize that, but look, the plantation owners give us a father. Them give you the concept of a father through religion. So as much as we do have a reality father who really protects us, they give us an imaginary father. And his father lives in heaven. Before we met the white men in Africa, you know, fathers was important figures, foundation figures in all family structures. Black people, father was defender of the family. Mother protect, father defend. And when we lose that power, the white man give us a symbolic representation of a father. And them tell you that father now is in the sky. And to consolidate that father, them give us a prayer. And that prayer is memorized by almost every black man throughout the whole world. It's called Our Father. It's called the Lord's Prayer. The whole of we get it to know. None of we don't escape this. And we said this Lord's Prayer from the idea we need and before. Our parents memorize it and then pass it on to we, and we memorize it, we pass it on to our children. What is this father now that we have turned ourselves over to? And when I look, I realize, you see, Our Father is one of the worst prayer a black man could utter. It's the worst thing a black man could utter. Our Father who art in heaven. Whose father? It couldn't be the father of the black people. Because that father would be a worthless father to say, we on earth here suffering like that, and him just in heaven. And that father watch a white man kneel down in a black man's neck for over 400 seconds, and that father don't intervene. That is not our father. We don't need anything like that as a father. So this father who is in heaven, and we're told that his name must be hallowed, and that his kingdom will come it, and his will be done. Not the will of my father, you know. Not the will of my biological father. We now give him that respect, that his will is done. It's some imaginary father now in the sky. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us not our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. That's why the white boy could come in the church and kill 9 away as black people. And the police come for him and give him a hamburger. They didn't shoot him. They never threw him to the ground and handcuff him and kneel down in them milk. Them carry him, go hamburger, go give the boy something to eat. So, if we don't wake up, and with tired of use the word wake up, we do not become conscious that we are living in a world that is driven by race, and that the powers that run the world is driven by economics and the military. We will spend less time talking about spiritual things and build up economics and technological things. We have evidence that the church is a failure. Within the COVID-19 and within the protests, the church has become impotent because it can't help black people. It can't help us in our need, but it still wants to take away our resources. Consciousness is the energy, and conscious is the brain that thinks out of its blackness. Metamorphosis.
Sitting in your church on Sunday, thinking who you're gonna screw Monday, who you're gonna thief, who you're gonna rob. Take it as me till you say you can't fool God. Do every day you ball out, Jaja. Call yourself a dreadlocks Rasta. Terrorize the people on your lane, cause I saw you get wicked when you lick the code. By his deeds shall a man be known. Wanna ask you for a piece of bread, you give him stone. By his deeds shall a man be known. Natty up your head and worship Babylon throne. By his deeds shall a man be known. Straighten up your liberty and don't bow down. By his deeds shall a man be known. Mr. Money Man with your big money plan. Tell me where you get your first money from. How you plant your field, how you make your deal. Then come tell your picnic them fit don't smoke weed. Left your air condition office and gone a bar. Impress a little easy gal with your pretty car. When you're done, she said she have to get paid. What a fret you a go fret when you hear she have. By his deeds shall a man be known. Wanna ask you for a piece of bread, you give him stone. By his deeds shall a man be known.
Party up your head and worship Babylon throne. By his deeds shall a man be known. Straighten up your liberty and don't bow down.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today.
Yeah, Metamorphosis into the final 15 minutes of this edition. And just briefly want to speak to what's happening, what's going on in the globe. So many things happening. But we got to speak of some things specifically as it relates to the crisis, the double crisis, coronavirus and racism. No, the corona, we know, originated in Asia. And it moved into the Western Europe and it traveled through all the continents. And is now in Africa, finding its way through the populations there. And the WHO, which is the health organization, they have been, in my opinion, the driving force encouraging nations what to do to fight this COVID-19 virus. And so ultimately they got to the level of shutdown, where the conclusion was that to fight this virus we need to have a lockdown. And so for the first time in the history of the world, all cities came to a halt, all transportation, things that were not visible before became visible, what couldn't be heard was now heard, and things became in a different dimension. The death rate of this virus has been great. America now is probably the #1 country for deaths, followed by Brazil and Germany and so on. But what a point I want to get to know is that where it started, is like it becomes like a model of how to deal with the virus. The steps being taken, distancing and spraying down and quarantine and all that type of stuff. So the Chinese did it. And all countries are following. But the point I want to show them now is that there's always been a talk about a second wave of this coronavirus. And what is meant by a second wave, is that a point will come when it would slow down and then it would start again. But this time at a more intense rate. And I want to just make the island be aware, that second wave movement has started, not in the Western world, but it has started where it began, in China. China now is in a second lockdown. Beijing, larger city. And if we are to follow the rhythm, then it seems very likely that other nations may end up following the same rhythm of China and have to go into a second lockdown. The protests that are taking place in the world today against the injustice of racism is probably intensifying the spread of the virus because the instructions that were put in place have all gone down the window. There's no more distancing and the rates of infection have already begun to increase in America. Places like Florida, societies like Germany, they are beginning to consider shut down again. I say that to say that we here in Jamaica, we have just reached a point where we are trying to, what they call, reopen the economy. And in this reopening, we are taking the risk of exposing the population to a greater exposure of this COVID-19 virus. And the risks are being taken because the capitalists, those who control the wealth of the economy, those who control the tourist industry, they feel as though they must be in a position to regain their economic loss. And it's not just a Jamaica thing, it's a global plan of reopening the tourist industry, reopening the entertainment industry. These industries have a lot of black people involved as workers, entertainment and the tourist industry. And so the exposure now to this thing is going to intensify. And the risk being taken, we are told, is for the benefit of our employment. So Jamaica opened and took in its first set of airplanes and visitors. And we have our first recording of a COVID-19 person out of the tourist lot. People should not be surprised, and we should not be surprised if the numbers increase. What do we do to defend ourselves? What is the method of defense as the doors are open and these people will rush into our shores? They are coming with it. And because of the desperation now to maintain these industries that are maintained by overseas money, we're exposing ourselves to greater danger. It is showing that from day one, this Jamaican plantation society never set out to have a self-dependent, self-reliant economy. We were always based on service. And the service is to service white people who come to the country to have sun and sand and sex and ganja and enjoy Jamaica. We are at a serious risk now. And the alternative to this is really rethinking agriculture, rethinking industry, and combining agriculture and industry, that we can now become a producing nation. We cannot continue being a nation that's providing just service. And we're going to take those risks. And if a shutdown is to come again in Jamaica, as it's being threatened in other places, it's going to be a very serious time, because the rebellion in the people is going to be intense. And the lack of money, as we are realizing, is really the key to poverty. That it is those who lack money inherit the kingdom of poverty. And whoever embraces poverty don't mind not having money, but we realize that it's money that makes everything turn. And so we begin to refocus our attitude. And how do we get involved in activities that create money versus activities that provide service to get money from people who must come here? And if they come in their illnesses, who suffers? Is it worth it? Metamorphosis. Gotta touch on the violence in Jamaica now, because we are caught up into some whirlwinds of violence here that, in my opinion, is no longer just crime. These attacks on the state is gone beyond crime. It seems almost like some type of militia activity. And then the response of the government is by applying more states of emergencies. The entire island could be declared a state of emergency as I speak. And we're still not recognizing that the concept of police cannot be equated in a Jamaican context with brutality. We have to move away from that. We're seeing the brutality of a white man police, and it's not just a white man police. It's not a black man police. It's a concept of what the police is all about. And it's very obvious that it's difficult to separate police now from brutality. There needs to be a rapid shift for people to begin to get the confidence that police does not equal brutality. The Jamaican society is also facing a potential election. The American election will be in November. And that country is in a total upheaval as to whether the orange agent shall return to the White House. The Jamaican society now, who's mimicking North American society, I'm thinking they're thinking about election sometime around the same time. And it's a very unfortunate thing because elections don't provide solutions. In the Jamaican context, elections is shifting one set of family for the other set of family in maintaining the plantation called Jamaica. The people are awakening up to the notion of what the voting is. And voting doesn't change the Jamaican plantation society. What we really need to change here now is our approach to governance from the highest level. And we recognize more and more now that we don't need a governor general in Jamaica if we want to really maintain some level of sovereignty. That is a critical change that is needed. They're taking down statues. They want to change the name of roads. They want to decolonize the mind of the people who have been enslaved. My personal hope and desire is that they will take down that monstrosity that is in central Kingston. That big naked black man with his 9-inch penis and the woman looking up into the sky, I think is the greatest disrespect to black people in the whole world. And we have it right here in Jamaica. And we don't have the grit to tear that down. But we're following the American chant. We see what's happening in America. The Confederate statues are coming down. We see what's happening in Europe. And we have something that has been made in our lifetime. We're not talking about a Queen Elizabeth statue. We're talking about the nakedness in New Kingston that's supposed to represent our emancipation. How can that represent Nanny? How can that naked monstrosity represent Marcus Messiah Garvey? And we were talking about independence and liberation and Black Lives Matter. When will Black Lives Matter in Jamaica? When we begin to take down that type of nastiness that's supposed to represent black life. When we move that, we can talk about taking down Mahatma Gandhi. And we can change the name of the parishes and all of those things. But as long as that naked man and woman put up there by some English woman with some sexual problem, how can that symbolize black liberation? It's not a liberation situation. That's black people locked into religion, looking into the sky for their salvation. I say take down that monstrosity out of New Kingston if we really want to change the cultural landscape and move towards a real liberation of consciousness. Metamorphosis.
Dark brown shades of my skin only add color to my tears. Oh, that splash against my hollow bone.
There are those who are claiming that Black Lives Matter should not be something that we stay because it's racist. And so now we have here that Blue Lives Matter. And the ultimate now is that all lives matter. But I say to the item, why did it require the death of black people to realize that all lives matter? All lives didn't matter all the while. It's just because black people now are protesting the death of black people why all lives matter. It's hypocrisy. If all lives matter, black people would not be protesting about their own life. So that is just Jim Screecher talking. People who don't want to face the reality of what it is to be black in reality. Yeah, metamorphosis. Is it because I'm black?
In the ghettos of the city, yeah, oh Lord. Mama, she worked so hard to earn every penny. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Let me heal up the listeners as the program winds down. At the local level, right here in Bombrook, right on the hillside, Norwich, and Light Tower, Lighthouse. Yeah, right in the Bombrook community. Greetings, heal up to everybody. This is the time to be conscious and to be confident. No time to be doubtful, because the revolution is on, and it is real, and it is black. Heal the people in Port Antonio proper, Titchfield Hill and Lanza Lane, wrong Lanza Lawn and in Central. And heal up Lee, yeah man, Peters Lane, Rose Cottage. Yeah man, black man, I say heal to the eye them. I want to heal up the people them out of the east, Long Road, way out that's where I start, and we'll go right over into Happy Grove. And then we'll heal up Yaya and Amira, right there at the highway. Morant Bay, more strength and power. Right into Kingston and right into Harborview, waiting for the road to start. And then down into the west, all people who listen to Styles FM and Metamorphosis, Western Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne's, straight down the coastline, until we walk up Hanover and we turn the corner, we'll come around into Westmoreland and up into St. Elizabeth, Maypen, right into Kingston and St. Andrew. So Iman Blak, I say, heal all the people them there. Do not lose faith in your blackness. Lose not your confidence either. And then for the people who are far off the island, in the North American jungle, stay strong and don't get caught up in the rush. African continent, the Europeans, all parts of the world that can hear Styles FM. The Black Revolution is on. And there's no turning around. The Black Lives Matter movement has its foundation in America, but the real power is outside of America. And it is moving. And it is challenging the established racial structures that have been governing the world. And it just starts. Yeah, Black Revolution is on. The Chinese Revolution was led by Mao Zedong. Cultural Revolution, they call it. And 50 years later, China man is on top of the world. So here we're saying the Black Revolution. And this Black Revolution will push away religion, push away politics that have been established and European thinking. So we don't need to be focused on Marx and Lenin and Freud and Darwin and all these kind of guys. We just deal with Cheek Anta Diop, Ben Yokanan, Amos Wilson, Francis Cress Welsing. We have an army of black intellects and scholars. And those are the people we turn to for guidance as we share our knowledge culturally and project a direction that the black people must consider. Being Democrat and being Republican is no solution. Being socialist and being capitalist is no solution. We need a blackness and a black economics, black politics, black psychology. Metamorphosis.
Since we've got a pride, we'll survive. We believe in the black beauty.
Yes, give thanks for the opportunity to be here in this under this pandemic movement. That we still have health and we still have vitality, still able to come forward and speak the things them that I need to say. I want to hear a virgin, a man who give her a call. And the last time I talked to that man was 40 years ago, And the man do it, everything being dig up. The man give her a link. Yeah, man, the last time I talked to this man, Buckman Walters, 1981. I had no idea whether the man was alive or dead, but it's the greatest recovery because the man who I make some serious try with him in our reasoning and our philosophy while I'm on investigate pigmentation and certain type of science. So I want to hear Buckman living in Connecticut now. And all the ones who into Metamorphosis, man in Canada, Kasha Blak. I want to hear up Sister P too. Yes. So you staying strong within thy own self. And to the Styles FM family. It's always good to be here, Jackson's and UL and the people who make Styles FM live. And of course Cassidy. Because without the engineer, Iman, we just that. So we'll go through. Yes. I was signing off quietly. There's a point I really want to make also about Jamaica, And as much as we are suffering from violence, part of the infrastructure of Jamaica that needs to be torn down in the way people are tearing down statues is something called the garrison. Whenever Jamaican people come to the conclusion that the garrisons must be torn down, not just zinc fence by the government for millions of dollars, The garrison. The garrison is a condition that breeds violence in Jamaica. The garrison. And those who are responsible for creating the garrisons in Jamaica should be flushed out. And when we have no more garrisons in Jamaica, we are at a stage where we begin to talk about a society. But as long as we have the garrisons, there is no peace in Jamaica. There will always be war as long as there are garrisons. It matters not what happens at the ports with the amount of guns. As long as we have the garrisons, the politicians will remain our greatest enemies. Yeah, so next round again. Coming out of Styles FM, coming out of Portland, the Metamorphosis. You need your host, Dr. Iman Blak.
And this red, gold and green train. Oh yes, we are going.